Hello everybody, this is Money Mom. Welcome back to the channel. This is part 2 of why people are in debt. Part 1 were reasons that you may control, but part 2 may be reasons that you can't control. I think a lot of these budgeting videos out there and channels are phenomenal. They give great advice and they really try to prepare you for when Murphy happens. I love the idea of the sinking funds and savings and really planning ahead. I think it's phenomenal, and I think in most cases it's going to be very effective. But sometimes life happens, and I'm going to talk about those things because I do feel sometimes they're not spoken about enough. And I kind of feel like there's a lot of pressure in the community to be debt-free, which I think is phenomenal, but sometimes Murphy happens. Let me get started with what I'm talking about. Number one of the reasons that people may go in debt is car debt. For example, they have a sinking fund to save for a new vehicle, but maybe they bought a lemon and they don't have enough in their sinking fund and their emergency fund built up yet because they had just wiped it out to buy it. They paid cash. That happened to us. Not where we bought a lemon, but we bought a vehicle, we paid cash for it, okay? We didn't have any other credit card debt or any other debt at all. We paid cash for the vehicle. My husband, by accident, got into a car accident not long after we got that vehicle. Well, we hadn't rebuilt the car savings up at all, so we had to go buy a newer vehicle and had to go into debt for it. It wasn't something we wanted to do. We had paid cash for the last 2 vehicles, but we didn't have a choice. Of course, we did pay off the vehicle, but it was something that I felt was out of our control because we hadn't rebuilt those funds back up yet. Number 2, large medical bills. This happened to us where I had an appendicitis attack, and insurance didn't cover everything. I did have some savings, but at that time, my husband had gotten laid off from a job. He did get another job at that time, but I was the only one working. I wasn't going to wipe out savings to pay all the medical bills, so I took 12 months and I paid them out over that period because I wasn't going to take $6,000 or $7,000 out of our savings and pay all that and have nothing in case an emergency happened. So it was medical bills. I didn't plan on having an appendicitis, and to be honest, I'd never dealt with insurance companies before because that was my first time in the hospital besides having a baby. So medical bills would be another reason that you're not planning for. Number 3, loss of a job for a long period of time. I have a dear friend of mine that she was out of a job for a year. Now, I don't know the full scope of this, but she actually had a year income in savings, which I thought was phenomenal, but she lived on a very tight budget, but it was getting kind of scary towards the end there. But if you have a loss of a job for a really, really long time, that could be a reason you could go into debt, and because you're not planning that. Now, there's also part-time jobs, there's side gigs, there's always things that you can do, but these are things that you're not planning for. Number 4, and I know of someone in this situation, a severe family illness which prevents you from going back to work. You may apply for disability, but it may take a while to get it, and so somebody that was a hardworking person that brought in a decent income loses their job and they can't work at all. These are things that can happen. I do feel it's important to have a good savings and to plan ahead, to have the sinking funds in place. And I'll be honest, 2017, we had to dig into our savings a lot, and we're just rebuilding it now. And the sinking funds and the savings is what carried us through, so I did not accrue any debt in 2017. But the things that happened to us were not major things, so we could handle them. I am just letting everyone know that if debt happens sometimes because of things that are out of your control, it's okay. Take a deep breath and then just start back to square one, and you will get there again. That's all I'm saying, because I feel like we all need to hear that sometimes. Another person who I really like and admire and respect, Dr. Whimsy over at Aristocrats, did a video, not exactly like mine, but there's some similarities. I'm going to link it below because I feel like it's something that we should all talk about more, is how do we really prepare when everything happens at once. What can we do and what are our options? And I feel it's something that needs to be spoken about. Thank you, everybody. If you have any insight on either part 1 or part 2, I'd love to hear from you. And also, if you want me to do a shout out to any of your channels and a special video you'd like to tell me about, I'd like to see and I'd like to support you. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.